Every time Lu Ruyen brings up divorce, she only has one request. All the assets belong to me. She only wants the daughter. Because she is sure I can't bear to part with her and our daughter. Until my birthday. I saw with my own eyes Lu Ruyen in the restaurant with our daughter and Bai Yueguang. Our daughter was eating the pastries sent by Shichin. She even smiled and said, "If Uncle Shi were my dad, that would be great." Lu Ruyen smiled and picked up some vegetables for them. Her gaze remained gently fixed on the man across from her. At that moment, I suddenly felt tired. I didn't disturb them and turned to leave. After returning to the villa, I prepared a divorce agreement. 7 years of marriage resulted in the woman's betrayal. It was time for me to wake up. I put the divorce agreement in an envelope. After instructing Aunt Lu to give it to Lu Ruyen, I dragged my suitcase and took a car to the airport. Lu Ruyen returned around 9 o'clock in the evening. Wan was holding onto the woman's dress. The action of getting out of the car was slow. Because I was there. She actually didn't want to go home tonight. "Mom, we are going out to sea to play tomorrow. What should we do if Dad insists on tagging along with us?" Lu Ruyen spoke with certainty. She knew that after all these years of marriage, as long as she took that attitude, I wouldn't dare to upset her. Upon hearing this, Wan finally felt relieved. Changing her earlier annoyance, she skipped happily into the door. In the living room, Aunt Lu recalled what I had instructed. She handed the envelope to Lu Ruyen. "Madam, this is from your husband for you. He said at noon that he had to return to the country for some business." The woman's hand holding the envelope paused. "He actually went back." She didn't know why I suddenly came over. She didn't care either. Even after learning that I had left, she still wasn't at ease. One evening, Wan was a bit surprised. She was still thinking about if Dad tomorrow didn't go out with them to play. It would actually be quite nice to have Dad with her at night. Also, she hadn't finished the gift for Uncle Shi yet. She still wanted Dad to help her finish it. Lu Ruyen didn't say much more either. She turned around with her daughter and went upstairs. Back in her room, she was just about to open the letter I gave her. Suddenly, Shichin's call came in. After she answered the call, she casually tossed the envelope aside and turned to leave. The next day, when Aunt Lu came up to clean, she saw the familiar envelope on the floor. She thought Lu Ruyen had already seen it. She casually placed it into a nearby cabinet. On the other side, I landed from the plane. After getting home, I went straight upstairs to pack my luggage. I only took a few outfits and some of my textbooks. After getting married, Lu Ruyen would give me a living allowance every month. It's just that my mind is filled with thoughts of my wife and daughter. So most of the living expenses she gives me, I spend most of it on them, mother and daughter. However, during this past year, my goddaughter has basically been living abroad with Lu Ruyen. I've had fewer opportunities to buy things for them. Now I still have more than 30 million left in my account. It's money that originally belonged to me. I didn't hesitate and just transferred the money. Then I left with my luggage without looking back. Previously, I bought an apartment near the company. It's regularly cleaned by someone. It's ready to move in with just a little tidying up. It was a little past 10 p.m. After washing up, I went back to my room to rest. Suddenly, a harsh alarm clock went off. I was abruptly awakened. My mind went blank for a moment. When I came to, I suddenly remembered. It's 1 a.m. in the country now. Lu Ruyen and her daughter are in a place where it's a little past 7 a.m. They usually have breakfast at this time. So I also call my daughter at this time. At first, my daughter wasn't used to being abroad. She still had a lot to talk about with me. It can become longer over time. My daughter's attitude became more dismissive and impatient. This alarm clock has actually become unnecessary long ago. It's just that I can't bring myself to part with it. Thinking of this, I gave a wry smile. After hesitating for a while, delete the alarm, turn off the phone, and go to sleep. On the other side, Lu Ruyen noticed that I didn't call today, but she didn't really care. After having breakfast, she went upstairs to change clothes. And Wan already thought I was being nagging. She increasingly disliked talking on the phone with me. When she saw that I didn't call today, she felt that I might be busy with something. Her dark eyes rolled around. She grabbed her backpack and ran outside. Aunt Lu quickly followed her. "Miss, it's still early. It's still okay to leave a little later." Wan didn't listen. She just happily ran to the car. "If Dad calls, I'll have to chat with her again." She wouldn't want to. And after I woke up in the morning, I arrived at the Lucia group for work. I joined the group initially for Lu Ruyen. Now that I'm going to get a divorce, I have no reason to stay. Jiang Tang is one of Lu Ruyen's personal secretaries. She was very surprised when she saw my resignation letter. She is one of the few people in the company who knows about our relationship. When I first joined, she was worried I would cause chaos in the secretary department. The result was beyond her expectations. My work ability is outstanding. After a few years, he became the head of the secretariat. Moreover, she has always noticed my feelings for Lu Ruyen. To be honest, Jiang Tang never thought I would resign. Perhaps something happened between the two of us. Lu Ruyen asked me to resign. Although it's a pity, Jiang Tang is still handling it as a matter of business. I've received the resignation letter. I will arrange for someone to take over your work as soon as possible. I nodded and turned back to my workstation. After a while, Jiang Tang got busy. She updated Lu Rian about the work online. When they were almost done talking, I was just about to report my resignation, then suddenly remembered what I had talked about with Lu Rian. I handle everything in the company according to the company regulations. There's no need to report to her specifically. Seeing that Jiang Tang had not spoken for a long time, Lu Rian frowned. Is there anything else? Jiang Tang came to her senses and hurriedly said that there was nothing wrong. She thought it was Lu Rian who ordered me to resign. But Lu Rian did not bring it up herself. This means it is still handled according to the company regulations as usual. After work in the evening, I went to the market to buy some vegetables and a few pots of green plants to take home. After dinner, I went online to check the news about the technology exhibition. After watching, I made a phone call. Save me a ticket for next month's tech exhibition. The voice on the other end was somewhat cold. Are you sure? The first 2 times, you also said you'd reserve a ticket for me, but you didn't show up even once. How many sought-after tickets have gone to waste? If I don't show up this time either, I won't speak to you again in the future. Upon hearing this, the other side hung up without saying a word, but I knew this meant she agreed. What I didn't say was, I want to return to the company. As a partner in the company, I chose to marry and have children, stepping back from the company when it was just starting out. I've been out of the loop for too long. Going back now, I won't be able to keep up with their pace. So I plan to learn about the current situation. I'll make plans based on the industry conditions. Over the next few days, I went to work on time. I didn't actively contact my daughter or Lu Ruoyan again. Of course, they didn't contact me either. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, Wanwan now calls Shirchin every morning. That day, she hadn't talked to Shirchin for long before she burst into tears. Because Shirsu is going back to her country. After Wanwan finished chatting with Shirsu, she immediately called Lu Ruyen. Mom, do you know about this? Over at the office, the woman was flipping through documents. I know. Wanwan cried non-stop while hugging her little pink pig doll sadly. Mom, why didn't you tell me? I can't bear to part with Uncle Shirchin. I don't want to study here anymore either. I want to go back to my country. Lu Ruyen spoke in a calm tone. Already processing 7. We will return to our country next week. Wanwan jumped up from her bed. Really? Then why didn't Uncle Shirchin tell me just now? The situation just became clear. I haven't told him yet. Wanwan was super excited. Then, Mom, don't tell Uncle Shirchin about this yet. After we go back to our country, we'll give him a surprise. After hanging up the phone, Wanwan was still very happy. She suddenly remembered me. She has been in a good mood these days because I haven't called her. She has been feeling very good. But after so many days, she suddenly misses her dad a bit. Thinking about it, she couldn't help but make a call. But as soon as the call went through, she suddenly thought about how after going back home, her dad and Uncle Shirchin would be there. She wouldn't be able to see Uncle Shirchin any time she wanted. Thinking about this, her mood suddenly worsened. Meanwhile, it was midnight over there. I was woken up by Wanwan's call. I was about to answer, but got angry and hung up the phone. Although I gave up custody of Wanwan, she is still my own daughter. I was worried that something might have happened. I hurriedly called back, but Wanwan just turned her little face away and wouldn't answer. I was even more worried. I immediately dialed the landline at the villa over there. Aunt Lu quickly answered the phone. She quickly explained that Miss was fine in her room. Only then did I feel relieved. I was suddenly awakened. I haven't been able to fall back asleep for a long time. The day of returning to the country, Lu Ruyan put the last document into her briefcase, turned around, and went downstairs. It's time to go. And the envelope containing the divorce agreement. Lu Ruyan hasn't thought about it since that day. On the other side, I was aimlessly walking around T University's campus. A familiar voice called out to me. Yinshi looked at me with a smile. How have you been lately? Quite well. It's just that I'm preparing for a divorce. Yinshi didn't expect to hear such an answer. I'm sorry, I didn't know. So what are your plans next? Do you want to come back to the company? I hesitated before speaking. I do have that intention. It's just that Yinshi doesn't know what my concerns are. But she seriously said to me, you also have a share in the company. I hope you can come back to take charge. Looking at her serious expression, I found it hard to express my feelings. It's not that I don't want to. It's just that the AI field is developing too quickly now. I've been away from the industry for 6 or 7 years. Now if I go back, I'm afraid I won't be able to keep up with the times. At this moment, Yinshi had her suspicions. But she didn't say it outright. She just said very seriously to me, it's okay to fall behind for a moment. Your abilities and talents are incomparable to ordinary geniuses. As long as you are willing to walk this path, it's still not too late to start again now. Don't forget, you are the student that the teacher is most satisfied with in their teaching career. After hearing this, I finally laughed out loud. After taking a deep breath, I nodded. Okay, I promise you I'll go back to the company. However, the current work still needs to wait for a handover. I'm afraid it will take some time. Of course, Yinshi readily agreed. You should know, back then I even skipped 3 grades. I graduated from the top university in the country before I turned 18. The company was also established under my leadership. We obtained several patents in the early stages of opening. As long as I can come back. What's the harm in waiting for a while? The two chatted for a while longer before parting ways. That night at midnight, Lu Ruyan and Wanwan returned to their home in the country. She carried the sleeping Wanwan back to her room. Then she returned to the master bedroom. Only then did she realize that there was no one inside. Loosening his tie, he asked the butler where I had gone. Mr. is on a business trip. Half a month ago. When I was packing to leave, he happened to be away. The other servants in the villa said I was carrying luggage out. He thinks he is going on a business trip. Lu Ruyan made a sound of acknowledgement and did not ask further. The next day, when Lu Ruyan arrived at the company, she bumped into me. Upon seeing the woman, my steps momentarily halted. Lu Ruyan also showed a hint of surprise in her eyes. She only thought I had returned from a business trip and did not think much of it. She coldly walked past me and turned to enter the company. If it had been before, I would have been very surprised to learn she had returned to the country. But now, I only looked at the woman's back with indifference. Since she's back in the country, the divorce should be on the agenda soon, right? I didn't think much of it immediately. I returned to my desk and got into work mode. Half an hour later, Jiang Tang called. I made 2 cups of coffee to deliver to Manager Lu's office. I'll bring it to Lu Ruyan after I finish making the coffee. I saw her sitting on Shirqin's lap. The two of them seemed to be kissing. My face suddenly went pale. Seeing this, Shirqin quickly stood up. Lu Ruyan's expression was very unpleasant. Who allowed you to come over? I clenched the tray in my hand. I came over to bring you coffee. Alright, Secretary Shi. Lu Ruyan's other personal secretary, Cheng Yuan, happened to arrive. What you're doing is actually quite boring. I understood his implication. He thought I was trying to disrupt Lu Ruyan and Shirqin's interaction. That's why they would appear here under the pretext of delivering coffee. The woman's expression seemed to think the same way. They didn't give me any chance to explain. Cheng Yuan said coldly, please leave immediately. My hand holding the tray slightly trembled. The coffee in the cup sloshed out and burnt my finger. I winced in pain. But I turned and left without a sound. But after taking just 2 steps, Lu Ruyan's voice came through again. If there's a next time, you won't need to come to the company anymore. She doesn't know that I have already resigned. Even without this incident, I would leave the company soon anyway. But I know, no one here cares about my matters. When I finished dealing with my wound and prepared to go back to work, I suddenly heard colleagues gossiping. I heard that Lu has brought her boyfriend to the company. Lu has a boyfriend now. What's his background? Is he good looking? I'm not sure about his background. But I heard that he also comes from a wealthy family. He's incredibly handsome and has a great demeanor. 2 colleagues were chatting. When they saw me get up, they remembered they had to go downstairs with me for a meeting and quickly shut their mouths. I had no expression on my face. I turned and left the office. The 2 colleagues headed towards the conference room. Then I saw Su and 4 senior executives from the company, walking towards them. I only heard Shirqin say with a smile, thank you to the managers for taking the time to show me around the company. He spoke politely, but it seemed as if he already considered himself the boss of the company. The managers beside him also smiled and didn't see anything wrong. When they saw us approaching, the managers' brows immediately furrowed. How do they walk? What if they bump into Mr. Shi? They really have no manners at all. The 2 colleagues beside me were sneakily glancing at Shi, while hurriedly stepping back against the wall. Shi also saw me, but then coldly averted his gaze. He walked away surrounded by several managers. The 2 colleagues sighed with relief. Then, they immediately started gossiping excitedly. That person just now must be Lu Nian's boyfriend. He's so handsome. He's wearing all designer labels. No wonder he comes from a wealthy family. As they spoke, they quietly asked me, what do you think? I lowered my eyes and said calmly, yes. Of course, he counts as a young lord from a wealthy family. In fact, Shirqin is my father's illegitimate son. When he was 8 years old, my father insisted on divorcing my mother so that Shirqin and his mother would not be wronged. He was determined to divorce my mother. He married Shirqin's mother. And the divorce. My mother and I lived with my grandmother and uncle. I heard that in order to make up for the grievances Shirqin suffered in his childhood, he spent countless amounts of money to raise him. So the illegitimate son Shirqin has now already become. He is indeed a legitimate young heir from a wealthy family. I thought that after childhood, Shirqin and I would have no further connection. However, it seems that fate particularly favors Shi. The moment Lu Ruyan saw Shirqin, she fell completely in love with him. But Lu Ruyan and I will soon be getting a divorce. Lu Ruyan's love life will no longer concern me. I worked overtime until 9 p.m. My phone rang just as I was finishing up my work. It was my brother Yi Chen who got drunk. He wants me to go to the restaurant to pick him up and take him home. I quickly finished the documents I had on hand. I grabbed the car keys and left the company. 20 minutes later, I arrived at my destination. As I was about to walk towards the entrance after getting off bus number 7, a little girl walked out from the other side of the parking lot. Looking at the little girl's clear profile, my steps paused. How could it be 1-1? Could it be that she followed Lu Ruyan back to the country? I thought Lu Ruyan was just briefly returning home to handle some matters. I didn't expect my daughter would also come back with her. Based on the fact that I saw Lu Ruyan this morning, I can conclude that, as it stands, she has been back for a day. However, my daughter has not called me at all. She hasn't informed me about their return to the country. Thinking about this, I tightened my grip on my phone. Watching the cheerful little figure bouncing ahead, I quietly followed behind. When I reached the corner of the hall, Su and several friends of Lu Ruyan appeared at the end of the corridor. I quickly sidestepped to avoid them. Then I heard my daughter happily calling out, "Uncle Shurchin," and she swiftly ran ahead. She leaped into Shurchin's arms. I sat down on the sofa beside them, with my back turned. I used the greenery and the chair's backrest to hide myself. Soon, I saw my daughter happily chatting with Shurchin. Wan was also being cute while hugging Shurchin. "Uncle Shurchin, I miss you so much. If I couldn't call you every day, I wouldn't have been able to stay abroad these past few days at all." It was a warm and beautiful scene. It was as if they were the real father and daughter. Su also happily ruffled the girl's hair. "Uncle misses you too. Let's not just stand here. Hurry up and let's go upstairs to eat cake." The footsteps faded away. I, however, was blankhead. It took me a long time to snap back to reality. I silently entered the elevator. I went upstairs to bring my friend Ji downstairs. Yi Chen's private dining room is on the same floor as Lu Ruyan and them. When I supported Yi Di while entering the elevator, Lu Ruyan's friendly Shurya paused in her steps. The person next to her asked, "What's wrong?" "It's nothing. I think I saw a familiar face." I didn't notice Li Xia. "Take Yi Chen back to the residence 7. I stayed there that night to take care of him." The next day, Yi Chen woke up and saw me there. He hugged me gratefully. "You worked hard last night. I'll treat you to dinner another day." I patted him on the shoulder. "Get up and wash up, breakfast will get cold." Yi Chen quickly washed up and sat at the dining table upon hearing that. He ate breakfast while playing on his phone. But after a while, his expression changed. "Has Lu Ruyan already returned to the country?" Saying that, he handed me his phone. I took a glance. It was a photo from their gathering last night, shared on Moments. They said it was a group photo from a birthday party. But out of the 9 pictures, 5 were of her and Shurchin together. Especially the one when they were cutting the cake. They were holding the same knife together to cut it. You can tell it's rice. This birthday party was specially prepared by Lu Ruyan for Shurchin. Just thinking about the cold shoulder I received on my birthday half a month ago, I managed a forced smile. What happens to them has nothing to do with me anymore. I proposed a divorce to Lu Ruyan. Yi Chen's eyes widened in surprise upon hearing this. He always saw how much I loved Lu Ruyan. In fact, he didn't dislike Lu Ruyan back then. After all, Lu Ruyan is truly outstanding. Graduating from university at 13 and going abroad for further studies. After returning, she founded several publicly listed companies. Even the Lu family advanced to a higher level within a few years because of her. So, Yi Chen didn't find it strange that I liked Lu Ruyan. But considering that for so many years, Lu Ruyan has misunderstood how she has wasted my sincere feelings. He was completely disillusioned with Lu Ruyan. This is the first time in these years that I have proposed a divorce. Did something happen? I thought about it and ultimately just shook my head. It's not a big deal. I just felt tired after being disappointed enough. So I want a divorce. Yi Chen understands my temperament. But knows that once I make a decision, I won't easily change it. I thought about him comforting me by patting my shoulder. "It's fine, getting a divorce might be a good thing. This kind of scumbag is not worth it." After breakfast, I went to work. I didn't expect to run into Lu Ruyan again. What a coincidence. She was just like before. The coldness on her face became more apparent when she saw me. She just glanced at me and then looked away. I lowered my eyes and softly called out, "Lu Nian." I stepped into the company only after Lu Ruyan walked away. At noon, I packed my things and got ready to leave on time. Cheng Yuan sent me a document that needed urgent attention. But I just glanced at the content, and knew that this document wasn't urgent. If it were before, I would have accepted it with a smile, and promised to complete it as soon as possible, because I wanted to build a good relationship with Lu Ruyan's several personal secretaries, so I could get closer to her. But now I'm getting a divorce, so what do I care? Not to mention the members accused me without reason yesterday. I don't have the magnanimity to act like nothing happened. I won't do this job now. I'm off work now. Cheng Yuan's face darkened. "Secretary Shi, please adjust your attitude toward your work. Do you think this is your home? My attitude remains the same. If you're dissatisfied, you can fire me right now. Qing Yuan was momentarily speechless. He knew about me submitting my resignation. I ignored him and left directly. Qing Yuan left the secretary department with a fuming face. At that moment, Lu Ruyan walked over from a distance. Upon seeing this, I asked what happened. Xing Yuan directly reported it. It was that secretary sure hadn't finished his work and left early. If you're dissatisfied, just go through the proper procedures to dismiss him. It's clear that Lu Ruyan doesn't care about this matter at all. Qing Yuan, upon hearing this, couldn't help but frown. It's not that he thinks Lu Ruyan is too indifferent about my matters. Rather, it sounds like Lu Ruyan doesn't even know. She doesn't know that I've already submitted my resignation. But didn't Jiang Tang say it was Lu Yi who made sure how resign? Just as he was about to speak, Lu Ruyan's phone rang. It was a call from Shichin. The woman glanced at him again. While answering the phone, she walked towards the elevator. Cheng Yuan could only speculate that perhaps Lu Wei had forgotten. After all, Lu Ruyan has never paid attention to Shi Hao's matters. By the time Lu Ruyan got home, it was already 7 a.m. the next day. She coincidentally ran into Wan Wan, who was having breakfast. The enrollment procedures have been completed. I will go to school to report tomorrow morning. Wan Wan wrinkled her little nose. Mom, can you take me to school tomorrow? However, Lu Ruyan shook her head. I might not be available. Wan Wan's eyes brightened instantly. Then I will call Uncle Shichin later. I'll ask Uncle Shichin to take me to school. Before the woman could speak, her phone suddenly rang. On the other end was the voice of old lady Lu. She asked her to bring her husband and daughter back to the Lu family for dinner in the evening. Lu Ruyan rarely refused the old lady, while telling her daughter that they would go back to the Lu family to see their great-grandmother in the evening, while picking up the phone to call me. At that time, I was also having breakfast. Seeing Lu Ruyan's call, I paused for a moment. I no longer felt surprised by her call. Instead, I hesitated for 72 seconds before answering the call. Grandma wants us to go back for dinner tonight. You come back tonight to pick up the child. I immediately agreed to having a meal. It's that I don't want to go back to her place. Besides, picking up our daughter might not make her happy either. Thinking about it, I suggested letting the driver take her there alone. After work, I can drive over myself. This is indeed the easiest way, but I always prefer to handle things regarding Wan Wan myself. Hearing me say this now, Lu Ruyan was a bit surprised. But she didn't think much of it. She said, "Got it," and hung up the phone. Wan Wan saw this and asked, "Will Dad come back with us to Great-Grandma's county?" After she received a positive response, the girl instinctively furrowed her brows. It's not that she doesn't want to see Dad. When she woke up the day after returning home, she found out that Dad had actually gone on a business trip. She initially wanted to spend more time with Uncle Shichin while Dad was away on his trip. But since Dad is back now, she can't let Uncle Shichin take her to school anymore. Uncle Shichin's car race is tomorrow night. Dad definitely won't let her go see it. Thinking of this, she started to act cute with Lu Ruyan. Uncle Shichin's match tomorrow night can. We can't let Dad find out. Getting the woman's assurance. Wan Wan's mood improved a bit. In the evening, I arrived at the Lu family's old house with gifts. Grandma Lu noticed me and immediately smiled. Shi Hao is here. Come over and sit here with Grandma. But only Grandma Lu was smiling. The smiles of the others faded when they saw me. I noticed but acted as if I didn't. After handing the gifts to the approaching butler, I walked over to Grandma and called her Grandma. Grandma was overjoyed and pulled me to sit down. Why have you lost so much weight? Did Ru Yen bully you? I lowered my gaze and shook my head. No, I've just been quite busy lately. After all, for the past half-month, every day after work, I focus on my studies. I've been focused on researching artificial intelligence. I often study until dawn before I sleep. The old lady didn't have time to speak. Lu Ganxiu couldn't help but scoff first. What you just said. Those who don't know would think your work is extremely important. Lu Ruyan's mother, Sang Qian, sat aside and spoke coldly. If you find working at the Lu group tiring, just resign. After all, no one is begging you to work at the Lu group. The old lady couldn't stand others speaking as I was about to talk. But I spoke up before her. I have already submitted my resignation. I will leave the Lu group after completing the handover. As soon as I said this, Sang Qian and Lu Ganxiu were both stunned. The old lady frowned, about to say something. Wan Wan suddenly shouted and jumped into my arms. After all, the two hadn't been in touch for half a month. Seeing me, Wan Wan was still very happy. I gently hugged her and said, "Okay." But she didn't say anything. And Lu Ruyan came in right behind her. After entering, she first greeted the old lady and Sang Qian. She glanced at me and then looked away. She sat down on the single sofa away from me. My younger sister, Lu Ting-yi, followed closely behind. She lightly jumped after entering, and settled down steadily on the sofa. Is everyone waiting for me? Lu Ruyan has a calm personality and usually doesn't talk much. Lu Ganxiu has a fiery temper. Lu Ting-yi is the joy of the family, and my relationship with my parents has become even closer. As soon as she returned, a smile clearly appeared on Chin's slightly cold face. The old lady became even happier. Wei instructed someone to start serving as it was getting late. After the formal meal started, everyone chatted while eating. The atmosphere is quite nice. I rarely speak and quietly eat with my head down. It has been more than 10 minutes since Lu Rian entered. It has been over 10 minutes. The two of us haven't said a word to each other, but everyone is actually used to it. Suddenly, Wan looked at me. Dad, I want to eat shrimp. I didn't refuse either. I put down my chopsticks, ready to start peeling the shrimp. But the old lady suddenly paused as she looked at my hand. Sure, how? Where is your ring? As soon as the words were spoken, everyone looked at my hand. Although Lu Rian was very cold to me after marriage, I have always worn the wedding ring that the old lady prepared for us. On the contrary, Lu Rian hasn't worn hers even once. Lu Ganxiu often mocked me for this. I continued peeling the shrimp without a trace for a second. He then spoke calmly. She rushed out in the morning, leaving home in a hurry. However, in fact, the ring was already with the divorce agreement. Both were placed in the envelope together. The old lady listened and smiled. So that's how it is. Then everyone stopped bringing up the topic. That evening, they stayed overnight at the old house as the old lady wished. Lu Rian and the old lady went to the study to discuss business. I took Wan upstairs to sleep. Just as she lay down, Wan tentatively spoke up. Dad, are you busy tomorrow morning? Although she could handle things on her own, she still hoped that Dad would accompany her to school tomorrow morning. However, she still secretly hoped that the person accompanying her would be Uncle Shichin. So it would be great if Dad could be free tomorrow morning. I squeezed my head. What's wrong if you're not busy? Wan pouted, feeling a bit disappointed. What are you being so petty about? Then he took out his phone. Since Dad and Mom are free tomorrow, he has to talk to Uncle Shichin about this matter. Wan was afraid that Shichin would be sad and disappointed if he found out. She kept pondering how to tell Shichin. I reminded her that she should go to sleep after looking at her phone for a while. You can't look for too long, you know. Wan was already feeling troubled. Listening to me nag so much made her even more impatient. Dad, you can go out now. I'll turn off my phone and go to sleep after 9:30. I said goodnight to him and left the room. Wan immediately closed and locked the door. I naturally heard the sound of the door locking. My daughter will come to me. She probably wants to discuss something with me. I didn't think too much about it and was too lazy to dwell on it. I turned around and went straight back to my room. I turned on the bedside light and went to sleep. I had just laid down when I heard Lu Rian's footsteps as she walked into the bedroom. If it were the past, I would have gotten up willingly. I would help him hang up the clothes he took off. Then I would happily find his pajamas. But now I have no intention of getting out of bed. Instead, I slowly closed my eyes. Although Lu Rian usually takes care of me, a mere glance. But now the attitude towards him varies so greatly. Naturally, he noticed my indifference. He might think I am just throwing a little tantrum. He's not hurt by my unusual behavior. Wan's enrollment procedures have been completed. You will take him to school tomorrow morning. I replied lightly, I know. Mao Rian didn't say anything either. I turned to go to the wardrobe to find clothes to prepare for a shower. I watched his silhouette. I wanted to ask a bit. When can they go to get the divorce certificate? But Lu Rian indeed has a lot going on. Given his personality, if all the procedures are completed, he would contact me himself without me having to urge him. After all, Lu Rian is the one who wants the divorce more. It is precisely because of this. I can quietly wait for his news. I haven't urged him even once. At this moment, Lu Rian's phone rang. She answered the phone gently. I knew the person on the other end was the key to what happened next. The woman released her grip on the wardrobe. I'll go there now. Saying that, she quickly left the room without looking back. After a while, I heard the sound of a car. I simply closed my eyes, calmly turned off the light, and went to sleep. I woke up around 6 a.m. the next morning. I was the only one in the room. But I no longer cared. I checked the time with a normal expression. I learned that Wan hadn't gotten up yet. So I knocked on the door and told him to hurry up a bit. Only after that did Wan get up to open the door for Dad. Why are you knocking so loudly? It's so noisy that it's giving me a headache. I wasn't angry when I heard that. Instead, I remained calm. This place is far from school. If he doesn't get up soon, he won't make it to school on time. Because it's not true that I can take him to school. Wan didn't even want to go to school anymore. But he also knew that he couldn't be willful in this world of school. He could only say sullenly that he understood. Then he looked at my dad and said, "Can you help me squeeze the toothpaste?" I agreed and then turned to go into the bathroom. Afterward, Wang Luanza took the opportunity to pick up his phone. He sent a message to Shichin. After saying good morning, he went into the bathroom. He picked up his toothbrush and started brushing his teeth. I was there when he was almost done brushing his teeth. I used a towel, heated with hot water, to wipe his face. Then, I opened the wardrobe to see what to wear today. That night, Jinzhuang pushed me out of the room. Dad, I can change my clothes by myself. You go out first, and wait for me to leave after. Turn over every night. He took out the clothes he specially brought from home yesterday. When he put it on, it was an extremely cool camouflage outfit. It was picked out for him by Uncle Shirqing yesterday. He was going to wear this outfit today, cheering for Uncle Shirqing. Thinking of his uncle, he picked up his phone and took a look. Soon, he furrowed his little brows. Because Uncle Shirqing hadn't replied to him yet. Could it be that uncle is angry? Thinking of this, he hurriedly sent a message to apologize. But there was no reply. After he packed his things, he came to find him. Has Wanwan finished packing up? It's time to go downstairs for breakfast. Wanwan was anxious, having not received a reply. Faced with my urging, he showed obvious impatience. Dad, can you please stop talking all the time? It's really annoying, you know. After saying that, he angrily grabbed his backpack and went downstairs. I watched him follow behind without saying anything. But I noticed the clothes Wanwan was wearing. They looked very familiar, and I immediately guessed what was going on. But I didn't ask about it. With a natural expression, I looked down. After having breakfast and preparing to head out, Wanwan realized she had left something behind. She ran upstairs to get it. I sat downstairs waiting for him. At that moment, Wanwan's phone screen lit up. The message note read, "Ching ching 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 uncle." I paused for a moment. Although Wanwan is still young, but ever since he got a phone, I have always respected his privacy. I never peeked at his phone. But when I saw the message was from Shirqing, I crouched down and picked up the phone. And then I understood why Wanwan had been upset with me. I quickly scrolled through their chat history, and found that Wanwan sent Shirqing a "good morning" message every day. They chatted every day, and talked for a long time. When I heard the sound of the elevator approaching, I acted as if I hadn't seen anything, and put the phone back in its original place. When Wang Wuan took back the phone, he saw the messages, and immediately smiled happily. After getting into the car, Wang Wuan sat in the back, and started chatting with Shirqing. Occasionally, he would check if I was paying attention to him. Over here, seeing that I was just focused on driving, he relaxed. But it's far from the school here. After chatting for half an hour, they stopped talking. At this point, Wanwan's mood had improved. Dad, are you free this afternoon? I didn't turn back. I've been too busy with things lately. What's wrong? Wanwan is smiling happily. It's nothing. Since Dad is busy this afternoon, he can go directly to find Shirqing after school. After dropping the kids off at school, I went back to work at Lu Group. I had just arrived not long ago. Jiang Tang brought someone to Wugong. This is Chen Hansheng for the future. He will take over your position in the future. Chen Hansheng is handsome in appearance, wearing high-end brands. He looked me over a few times. He thought I had a clean and handsome demeanor. There was a hint of scrutiny in his eyes. However, he didn't show it. Instead, he enthusiastically extended his hand for a self-introduction. Hello, Brother Hao. I am Chen Hansheng. Please take care of me in the coming days. I politely shook hands with him. I just graduated in June. I graduated with my master's degree in June. Brother Hao, which school did you graduate from? I was stunned for a moment. That is to say, Chen Hansheng might not have much work experience yet. Can this allow him to take my place? But perhaps Chen Hansheng has his own exceptional qualities. Thinking of this, I gently interrupted the other person's words. Mr. Chen, there's another meeting later. Let's discuss work matters first. Oh, Hansheng, look, I almost forgot the main issue. After spending a day interacting with Chen Hansheng, I found that he has a cheerful personality. Has Wanwan finished packing up? His work abilities are also quite strong. By around 6 p.m., I was just about to finish work and head home. Chen Hansheng came over and said he wanted to treat me to dinner. He wanted to thank me for my guidance today. This is part of my duties. Secretary Chen, you don't need to be so polite. Hansheng still wanted to persuade me. My phone suddenly rang. It was a call from my mother-in-law, Songgi. I just saw it and thought I was mistaken. Saying she usually ignores me. The number of times she has contacted me over the years, I could count them on one hand. I answered the phone with confusion. Ting Yi has recently been secretly playing racing with someone. I'm not too confident he will send you the address shortly. Go and bring that person back to me. Saying she didn't say a single unnecessary word. After giving the order, she hung up the phone immediately. A few seconds later, she sent me an address. Lu Tingyi. She is one of the few people from the Lu family who has a good relationship with me. Perhaps that's why saying she came to find me. After turning around to say goodbye to Chen Hansheng, it took more than an hour for me to finally arrive at the racing destination. The venue is quite large, and there are quite a few people here at night. Ding called, but Lu Tingyi didn't answer. I searched for almost 20 minutes on site before I found her. Lu Tingyi was quite surprised when she saw me. Brother-in-law, how come you are here? After I explained my purpose, Lu Tingyi immediately raised her hand and swore that she was only here to watch her idol CC's race today. I will go back after watching the race, I promise I won't cause any trouble. So brother-in-law, don't worry about me, you should go back first. I was just about to say something more, when I saw a lot of people ahead, excitedly shouting CC's name. Upon hearing the noise, Lu Ting couldn't care less about me. Excitedly, she started yelling along with the other spectators. She even picked up the binoculars. Stare at the race car, looking towards 7 o'clock. I was a bit surprised. When did you start liking racing? I used to be uninterested in racing, but that was because I hadn't met my idol yet. Do you know how handsome my idol is? Saying this, Lu Ting handed the binoculars to my brother-in-law. Hurry, look at my idol, number 38. The one in the red racing suit is me. I was forced to accept Lu Ting's recommendation, but holding the binoculars, I only took a glance. I was taken aback. CC is actually Shurqing. I felt a pang in my heart. I accidentally turned the binoculars in my hand. As a result, I saw Lu Ruyan and a few others in the audience. At this moment, the race was about to start. Lu Ting anxiously took the binoculars back. I was still looking in the direction of Lu Ruyan. It's obvious without saying. They all came specifically to cheer for Shurqing. A race car sped past right in front of me. In the blink of an eye, it drifted away, causing a chorus of screams. Lu Ting picked up the binoculars and looked for a moment. She then shoved the binoculars into my hands and said, "Sister-in-law, quickly look. My idol drives boldly and steadily. Super cool." I took it and found Shurqing. He took risks and seized the opportunity with incredible precision. He made an extreme overtake at the next turn. Soon, the race came to an end. Shurqing came in first place. Lu Ting asked, "I want the binoculars back, brother-in-law. You're also captivated by my idol, right?" I said it doesn't matter if you're male or female. Who wouldn't like my idol? I lowered my gaze and smiled, saying nothing. And Lu Ting was super excited. He and his friends were discussing going to find Shurqing for an autograph. As a result, I heard that Shurqing had already left with a friend. At this moment, Sangshi also called to urge me. So I rejected Lu Ting's request to go out and have fun. I was preparing to take her back. Before leaving, I went to the restroom. When I came out, I bumped into someone. Both of us took a step back and apologized at the same time. I looked up at the other person. This made me see Lu Ruyan's friend, who I knew as, who naturally knew me as well. His already indifferent expression became even colder. He naturally noticed. He is Lu Ruyan, who I met when I was 10. Lu Ruyan and Xiranju. They grew up together as childhood friends. But whether it was during childhood or after marriage, Lu Ruyan has always excluded me from his circle, so I couldn't even connect with him and it didn't even count as a connection. But shortly after getting to know the truth, he introduced me to him, and they became acquainted. I heard the truth. The relationship between them has already melted into a very good state. Perhaps because of this. In these 2 years, they have also become increasingly cold when they see me. Thinking of this, I bypassed the other person and left directly. But they spoke up. "Mr. Sher, are you also interested in racing?" I sensitively picked up on his meaning. He is suspecting that I came here to follow Lu Ruyan. I turned around and coldly asked, "What do you want to say?" They still had a cold expression on their face. I just feel that someone like Mr. Sher doesn't seem like the type to enjoy racing. So I was a bit curious. I turned my head and looked indifferently at the woman beside me. "Miss Xiao, are we very familiar?" "Miss Xiao, since you feel you know me well, why not talk about what kind of person I am?" They smiled but did not speak. They just looked at me. Before, I have always been quiet and gentle in front of them. But he thinks this is just a facade. In fact, I am very cunning. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done such dirty things to get Lu Ruyan back then. To do such despicable things. Afterward, I had to pretend to be innocent. To this day, I still refuse to admit to that matter. It is my handle. I don't care what Xiao Rongyu thinks. I withdrew my gaze and turned to leave. When Lu Ruyan returned home after celebrating with Shurqing, it was already close to midnight. I sent Wanwan back to her room. She turned on the lights in her room but did not see me. She turned around to ask the butler, "Why didn't I come back tonight? Sir has not returned these past few days." Lu Ruyan was somewhat surprised. It's rare for me to stay out so frequently. Could it be that something major happened in the Sher family? The next day, Wanwan woke up with a bright smile. He has been having a lot of fun with Shurqing lately. When he was in a bad mood, he thought of me. Happily holding a doll, he ran towards the master bedroom. But when he opened the door, he did not see the dad he wanted to see. He immediately sulked and looked unhappy. He picked up his phone and made a call. "I just came back from a run." I saw his call and answered it casually. Before I could say anything, Wanwan spoke up first, "Daddy, where are you?" I didn't answer. I was just inquiring if there was something going on. No one except Yi-Chen knows my current address. I really enjoy my solitary life. I don't want to be disturbed. Won lay on the bed and acted cute with me. I miss you, Daddy. I want you to take me to school later. Daddy, it's quite far from here to your place. I can't make it back to pick you up for school. Maybe next time, Won said, slightly disappointed. Then, Daddy, you have to take me to school tomorrow morning. I opened my mouth after a few seconds, saying, why not let Mom take you? Because I don't really want to go back there. The phone was on speaker. Lu Ruyen could naturally hear our conversation. He was a bit surprised. After all, my emphasis on my daughter had already passed. My daughter's wish is so small. I would definitely agree without hesitation. Her request wasn't fulfilled. Won instantly felt wronged and said she didn't want me, she just wanted you to take her. Except for yesterday. Dad, you haven't taken me to school in a long time. Listening to my daughter insist. I had no choice but to agree. It's not because I feel sorry for Won, but because now that I have Won as my child, I have to be responsible for her. After finishing my work, I finally regained my smile. Lu Ruyen put on her watch. Seeing my daughter still wanting to chat, I reminded her that she would be late for school. Won gasped and quickly said she couldn't talk anymore. She hung up in a hurry before I could say anything. I didn't mind either. After having breakfast, I went to work at Lu Group. After work in the afternoon, I had just left the company. My phone rang. It's Won calling, Dad. I want to eat crispy meat and water chestnut lean meat soup. Can you make it for me when you come back from work? I haven't officially divorced Lu Ruyen yet, so I'm having a meal alone. I need to go back now to make dinner for my daughter. I believe he won't have any objections. But I'm feeling a bit tired right now. Won is indeed my responsibility, but I won't sacrifice my time for him anymore. I won't unconditionally sacrifice my own time anymore. Thinking about how I refused Dad, saying I have something on today. Maybe next time, like before. I prioritize all my arrangements for Lu Ruyen and Won. Today, however, I heard my refusal twice in a row. Won suddenly felt a bit aggrieved towards Dad. Why do you always have so much going on lately? I don't care, I just want to eat crispy meat. I want to drink water chestnut soup. I have a bit of a headache. I was just about to speak. Won huffed and angrily hung up the phone. I sat in the car in silence for quite a while. I calmed my emotions before driving home. On the other side, Won hung up the phone. He thought I would rush home immediately to comfort him. But more than an hour passed and I still hadn't returned. The butler, worried he was hungry, spoke up. He said, since the sir has matters to attend to. Miss, you should eat something to hold you over. I'll make more for you when the sir returns. I don't want to see that I haven't come back for so long. And not even a single phone call. This time, he is truly feeling wronged. The butler couldn't hold back tears when he mentioned it. I just want to eat the dishes made by Dad. The butler thought I really had the key and couldn't return. There's no way. I had no choice but to call Lu Ruyen. Won picked up the phone and was about to speak, but you told her to eat first. I'll take you out to have fun this weekend. The gasping sound suddenly stopped. Won's mood instantly improved. After hanging up, she obediently went downstairs to eat. After dinner, Won was still waiting for me to come home. Until after 10 o'clock. Hearing the sound of a car outside, her eyes lit up. She dashed downstairs with a patter. Before Dad finished speaking, when he saw that the person entering was Lu Ruyen, the cheerful voice abruptly stopped. Lu Ruyen handed her coat to the butler, noticing the disappointment on his face. What's wrong? I thought it was Dad coming back. Lu Ruyen has always been indifferent to my matters. She just said that I should be busy with something. Didn't he promise to take you to school tomorrow morning? Get to bed early later. You'll be able to see him when you wake up tomorrow. Hearing this, Won finally felt happy. She pouted and went back to her room to sleep. After going upstairs, Lu Ruyen went to the study to handle some matters. By the time she finished, it was nearly midnight. He thought I had already returned. He returned after this busy period. But he found out that I wasn't there after he returned to his room. It seems something has really happened at the Sher family. With this thought in mind, Lu Ruyen confidently walked into the bathroom. Because I had to take Won to school, I got up early the next day. As soon as I entered the villa, I ran into Lu Ruyen coming down from upstairs. I gave him a faint nod as a greeting. Lu Ruyen paused in his steps, not yet speaking. Won ran down from upstairs and flung herself into my arms. I held her and ruffled her hair. It was getting late. Hurry up and go have breakfast. Won rubbed against me in satisfaction. She happily pulled me over to stay with her. And then Dad had breakfast with me. While the women were talking, Lu Ruyen had already taken a seat in the dining room. I couldn't refuse my daughter. So I went to the dining room with Won and sat down. As for Lu Ruyen, I simply ignored her. Lu Ruyen. Naturally, she noticed the change in my attitude toward her. The last time I returned to the old house, I felt the same way. With this in mind, Lu Ruyen was just about to speak. Suddenly, his phone rang. I happened to look over. I coincidentally saw the word baby on the caller ID. Lu Ruyan noticed when she looked up. However, he nonchalantly answered the call in front of me. He spoke gently, asking what was wrong. He often noticed the commotion on Lu Ruyan's side as well. In his memory, when Lu Ruyan faces poetry, that was when she would reveal such a gentle side. For a moment, he forgot I was there too. Is Mom Uncle Shirchin? Lu Ruyan replied softly with a Wanwan was just about to say he wanted to chat with Uncle Shirchin. Then she remembered I didn't like Uncle Shirchin. She swallowed the words back down. However, his good mood was affected. He frowned slightly, uncontrollably ringing. If Dad could get along well with Uncle Shirchin, that would be great. Over there, Shirchin said something unknown. Lu Ruyan frowned with concern. Left in a hurry without even finishing breakfast. Wanwan, being strong, couldn't help but worry. At this time, he also lost his appetite for breakfast. Pulling me up quickly, Dad, I've finished eating. Hurry and get a towel. I know my daughter wants to leave early, to understand the situation. But I said nothing. Once in the car, Wanwan didn't wait a second longer. After sitting in the back seat, she immediately sent a message about the situation. The other party said it was just a fever and a cold. It's not a big deal. But still, there was a lot of worry. She sent a message saying she'd go see him after school in the afternoon. When Xiao sent it, he felt a bit guilty. He hadn't eaten my cooking in a long time. He had originally planned to have dinner with Dad tonight. Fortunately, he hasn't had the chance to say it yet. When we arrived at school, Wanwan gave my dad a warm hug. Then I'll head in first. I just responded with a casual ahu. Often, he didn't notice my indifference. I skipped happily into the school. I returned to the company not long after. Jiang Tang came to find me. The handover of my work is almost done. I won't have to come to the company tomorrow. I nodded, indicating that I understood. I could finally leave the Lu group. Jiang Tang didn't expect me to agree so readily. Just about to say something. I had already reached out to thank you for your care over the years. Jiang Tang was still in a daze. But he also reached out to shake my hand. He was polite afterward. I packed up my things and left. Jiang Tang couldn't believe I was really leaving like this. Gu Yuan stepped forward and patted his shoulder. What are you daydreaming about? The members were also stunned when they learned I was leaving. However, he quickly sneered that he had left now. That doesn't mean he won't find a way to come back. It probably won't be long. He returned with the help of Lady Lu. Jiang Tang said nothing, although it was somewhat unbelievable. But based on how I've felt about him recently, this time, I'm serious. After leaving the Lu group, I went straight home. I guess he was thinking about the matter again. In the next 2 days, I didn't receive any calls from Wanwan. Late the next night, Yi Chen had a fever. I hurriedly grabbed the car keys and left with the scholar. I bought some medicine at a pharmacy near Yi Chen's neighborhood. While closing the umbrella and getting into the car, the passenger seat beside me suddenly opened. A tall figure sat down. I smiled inwardly. Just as I turned my head, a black gun was suddenly pointed at me. At that moment, I raised my hands, not daring to move again. Seeing this, the woman took my bag and phone. I won't do anything to you. Just take me to where I need to go, and then you can leave. I know I have no right to refuse. I started the car and asked where to go. To the Rongdong Pier. I will tell you exactly how to get there. No need, I know the way. As I spoke, I drove the car out. Rongdong Pier is at least half an hour away. The whole way, I showed no signs of panic. The car was driven steadily and accurately. The woman was holding a gun. Her gaze towards me slowly changed. Half an hour later, I steadily pulled the car over to the side. When he got out of the car, I retrieved my bag. I calmly flipped through it in front of him. I have some medicine for injuries here. All the way, the smell of blood in the car grew stronger. I knew that the other party was likely seriously injured. The woman paused but didn't pay attention to me. She got out of the car and rushed into the darkness. Seeing this, I didn't forcefully turn the steering wheel either. I drove away. Beef is being prepared. A few minutes later, the woman boarded the boat that was there to pick her up. She took off her hat and mask. At that moment, his phone rang. He hadn't spoken yet. Li Xia hurriedly spoke up. Rongyu, are you okay? My people said they didn't reach you. Where are you? There was a little accident. I'm already at the dock now. After saying that, he faded away on the phone. Looking at the tall banyan tree in the distance, I fell into deep thought. I had been back with Yi Chen for half an hour. I took care of him until his fever broke. Only then did I feel at ease to go home. The next day, Yinshi came to pick me up. A month ago, I asked him to book the internal tickets for the technology exhibition. The opening date is officially tonight. Yinshi said, tomorrow, I'll officially return to the company. After receiving my definite answer, he seemed a bit happy. Just right. Shirqing is a new algorithm genius recruited by the company. He also starts officially tomorrow. At that time, I'll just introduce you to each other. Upon hearing this, my expression changed. You mean that person is called Shirqing? Is he the one who came back from Meili Bo recently? Yinshi nodded, surprised. Do you know him? He is my half-brother from my father's side. He is Lu Ruyan's affair. The next moment, the car suddenly struck. Yinshi widened her eyes and was about to speak. I just shook my head and said I was fine. But you could say I'm using my power for personal gain. I do not agree to him joining our company. Yinshi's expression turned serious. She agreed without hesitation that it was fine. I support your decision. After all, compared to you, his value to the company is worthless. I froze for a moment. I felt Yinshi was being too exaggerated. The woman knew what I was thinking. This is all the truth. Do you know why he wants to come to our company? Because he is very interested in Q. And Q was designed and developed by my team when I was 17. It is also currently in existence that no one in the industry can crack. Yinshi looked at me. She patted my shoulder. So I said he is worthless in front of you. It's really not an exaggeration. As my senior in the same group, he has always known about his junior situation. How brilliant is the field. When the two arrived by car, guests had mostly gathered in the banquet hall. The host of the banquet was familiar with Yinshi. Upon seeing us, he immediately smiled and came over. As a result, the next moment he suddenly froze, looking at the doorway. Yinshi and I had our backs to the entrance of the banquet hall. We didn't know what was happening. Then we saw the host glance apologetically. The two of them passed by us. They headed towards the entrance. President Lu, President Li, President Xiao. My heart skipped a beat at the mention. Suddenly, a thought emerged in my mind. After turning around to see who had arrived, my smile suddenly froze. It was definitely Lu Ruyan, Shiya, and the other three. Aside from them, Shiqin had also arrived. Yinshi looked at me with concern. I smiled slightly. I calmly shook my head, saying I was fine. I was indeed shocked at first. But now, I didn't care anymore. Yinshi understood her own feelings. Deep down, I am actually someone who dares to dream and act. No matter what it is, I wonder if it has any use. Only by trying can one know the answer. It's the same in relationships. I'm willing to gamble my future because I love Lu Ruyan. He resolutely devoted himself to the family. Now that I've tried, I say I want to let go. Yinshi believes that. Many people rushed towards Lu Ruyan and her group. Through a thick wall of people, Lu Ruyan and her group really haven't noticed my presence. And the two didn't say much either. They walked to the banquet table, holding their wine glasses and chatting casually. At that moment, someone walked towards us. Yinshi saw the person approaching. She hurriedly went up and said, Professor Lu, long time no see. This time, I just wanted to introduce someone to you. Upon hearing this, Professor Lu's gaze fell on me. His eyes were filled with amazement, yet also full of doubt. He is indeed very outstanding. He is a young man with a lot of charm. But what is he being introduced to him for? The language programming you developed. Isn't this a stagnation period? Yinshi bent down. The gentleman shrugged. Introduce him. My junior brother, number 10, is a genius in language programming, Perpe. This was developed by my junior sister 8 years ago. Professor Lu, I can't believe what you're saying is true. Whether it's true or not, you can have a chat. I believe you will have an answer soon. Professor Lu was extremely excited. He tentatively asked me 1 or 2 questions. As a result, the more they talked, the more excited they became. They simply couldn't stop. Yinshi sipped her drink and watched with a smile from the side. She didn't disturb them. Casually looking around, she saw Shiqin walking towards him. He didn't have time to react. Shiqin had already come up to him. She greeted him. I turned to look as I heard the voice. Our eyes met directly with Shiqin. When Shiqin saw me, her expression completely turned cold. He cast a glance and quickly averted his eyes. I was just about to speak with Yinshi. The woman smiled and took the lead in introducing, this is Mr. Shi. Xiaohao, would you like to meet him? Yinshi's words expressed her stance. He and I have a close relationship. Moreover, he knows about the grievances between Shiqin and me. And in this matter, he stands by my side. Shiqin's expression turned cold in an instant. So, President Yun, I don't need to report to Chanhua tomorrow, right? Yinshi clapped her hands with a smile. Mr. Shi is truly very intelligent. In fact, he could have conveyed the matter more delicately. By doing this, he is using action to communicate the matter. There is no room for subtlety here. He firmly stands by my side. Shiqin naturally understood what was not being said. She calmly turned and left. I looked at her and smiled warmly. I was just about to speak with Yinshi. Then I noticed Lu Ruyan and the 3 people over there. They all looked over in my direction. Perhaps they didn't expect that I would also attend this banquet. Li Xia and Xiao Rongyu both showed surprised expressions. Yet Lu Ruya's face revealed nothing. It was unusually bland. So bland that it was as if he were a stranger they had never met. Half an hour later, the banquet ended. As soon as I got home, my phone rang. It was a call from Lu Ruya. I hesitated for a moment, wondering if this was her coming to question me. 2 seconds later, I calmly answered the phone. Wanwan has a fever. I wanted to see you but directly hung up on the other side. I was taken aback, grabbed the car keys, and left. When I arrived at the villa, I didn't see Lu Ryuan. But I didn't mind it. I headed straight to my daughter's bedroom on the second floor. Won is running a high fever and on an 4 drip. Seeing me, she weakly called out, "Dad." She reached out for me to hold her. I carefully held her in my arms. Won wrinkled her little nose. "Has Mom not come back yet?" I was taken aback when I didn't see Lu Ryuan upon entering. I thought she was in the study. The hotel for the banquet is closer than where I currently live. It's tighter than my current residence. Even if she had to drop something off at home first, she should have made it home by this time. Unless she never planned to come back tonight. At that moment, a flurry of footsteps was heard both inside and outside. It was Lu Ryuan coming back. I saw her. I wanted to put Won down to give Lu Ryuan the same position. But Won doesn't want to leave. She reached out her hands towards Lu Ryuan while leaning against me. Lu Ryuan came over and picked up Won. I turned my face away. I distanced myself from Lu Ryuan as much as possible. Lu Ryuan's hand gently rested on Won's forehead. "What's the temperature now? Has it gone down a bit?" I had no choice but to repeat what the doctor said. "The fever has gone from high to low, but it's still not very stable and could flare up again." Lu Ryuan sat by the bed holding Won. The little girl furrowed her brow as she leaned in his arms. "Mom, your coat is so stiff." He took off the coat and extended it to me. I reflexively answered the phone. It was only a moment later that I suddenly remembered. Lu Ryuan and I are about to get divorced. I thoughtlessly set the coat aside. I went downstairs to cook porridge. After speaking, I turned and left the room. Watching my departing figure, Lu Ryuan's gaze fell on the suit jacket I had placed on the back of the chair. This line is part of line 3. By the time I handled the ingredients and started cooking the porridge, it was already 20 minutes later. Going upstairs, I saw Won asleep after her 4 drip had finished. She had also sweated a lot. Mrs. Lu was carefully wiping his sweat again. Seeing me, Mrs. Lu hurriedly gave up her seat. He thought I was going to personally take care of Won. After all, I used to personally handle matters concerning Lu Ryuan and her daughter. I always took care of things myself. But I shook my head and sat down on the sofa in the room. Mrs. Lu was taken aback for a moment but didn't think much of it. She carefully changed Won into dry clothes herself. It was only after Mrs. Lu finished that I asked what the doctor said. "Will the fever come back?" Lu Xinwen hurriedly replied in a low voice. "The doctor said it shouldn't be a problem anymore." "That's good since Won is fine. It's highly likely that I won't need to stay here tonight." After sitting for a few minutes, I went downstairs. Mrs. Lu was in the kitchen watching the stove. "You're tired too, sir. Sit down and take a break." I didn't refuse. I left the kitchen. I saw Lu Ryuan. She was sitting on the living room sofa reading the newspaper. When she saw me, Lu Ryuan glanced over. Then she shifted her attention back to the newspaper. I paused for a moment. If it were in the past, I would definitely sit down and spend more time with her. But now we have nothing to talk about. Thinking this, I turned and went upstairs. As soon as I reached the second floor corridor, I saw Won waking up. "Dad, I'm hungry. Is the porridge ready?" "It's almost done." I reached out and touched the girl's forehead. After confirming she didn't have a fever, I turned and went into the kitchen. I brought out the congee. Won took a spoonful. She squinted her eyes in satisfaction. "I haven't had this in a long time. It smells so good," Mrs. Lu said with a smile. "Now that I'm back in the country, I can have it whenever I want from now on." I listened without saying a word. Lu Ryuan sat across from me, not saying anything either. Yet, I felt quite happy. It seemed she thought of something and whimpered, "Daddy, will you sleep with me tonight?" I was about to refuse, but I could see that his face was still pale. I ultimately hesitated and agreed. The next day, after confirming Won didn't have a fever anymore, I went upstairs, grabbed the car keys, and left. Not long after I left, Won woke up. I searched around but didn't find him. I asked, "Where's Dad?" "He went out for something," said the housekeeper. "But before he left, he had already prepared breakfast for you." Won's mood finally improved a bit. After washing up, I went downstairs for breakfast. On the other side, after leaving the villa, I went directly to Changhua to report. Yinshi was already waiting for me at the company entrance. Seeing me open my arms, gave me a hug to welcome me back. In the corridor of the company building with this colleague, Huolinger was leaning by the window making a phone call. "Sure Shueti, when will you arrive at the company?" But I heard Shichin say, Yinshi no longer needs him for personal reasons. Huolinger's expression changed. Just about to ask what the personal reasons were. I then saw Yinshi walk in with me. "This is number 10. He is the new colleague who joined our company today." He hadn't finished his sentence, when suddenly, Huolinger interrupted him. "General Yun, is it because of him that you kicked my junior out?" Yinshi was stunned for a moment, then nodded regarding this matter. "I will give you an explanation later. But Huolinger looked at me. My junior is 25 years old this year. Just got the world ranking. A doctorate from a prestigious institution in my past life. Mr. Shi was actually able to bump my junior out to enter Changhua. My resume should be more impressive, right? Huolinger just now saw me and Yunqi embracing downstairs. Thought I got into Changhua through connections. Thinking this, she didn't wait for me to speak. She started mocking me again. It's just that Mr. Shi looks quite young. I know. I thought Mr. Shi hadn't even graduated with his doctorate yet. Yunqi actually planned to find time later to talk a bit with Huolinger. After all, it involves the grievances between me and the matter. It's inappropriate to say it in front of so many people. But he didn't expect Huolinger to suddenly attack. Just as I wanted to speak up to stop her, Huolinger directly interrupted him loudly. General Yun. I'm talking to Mr. Shi. Just inquiring about his educational background. Is it difficult for Mr. Shi to answer? I don't think there's anything difficult to answer. I haven't actually been accepted into a doctoral program yet. But when I draw Huolinger, she just laughs. What does "damned" mean? Even if you haven't been accepted into a doctoral program, your expertise is no less than ours. What gave you such an illusion? Just because you have a pretty face? You've been spoiled by women's flattery. Do you really think you have real talent/skill? Yunqi was directly angered upon hearing this. Huolinger's reasonable doubts are fine. But to put it this way is simply insulting me. However, Huolinger took off the ID badge hanging from her neck. I resign. I don't need to be part of a company that gets in through the back door. Saying this, he left without looking back. I also value talent very much. I looked at Yunqi. But Yunqi shook her head. Let me not squeeze in first. It involves core technology and a confidentiality agreement signed with the government. Therefore, only a few people can know my identity. He looked at others since he couldn't explain it publicly. Although number 10 has never studied for a doctorate, his professional abilities are definitely sufficient. I can guarantee that. The others in the office exchanged glances. Similar things had happened before. A senior executive arranged for a pretty face to come in. When asked, she knew nothing. So Huolinger had no idea. Everyone else felt that Yunqi's company was indifferent. Yunqi took note of everyone's attitudes. But he wasn't in a hurry. He just handed Huolinger's work over to me to handle. Lu Ruyuan of Lu Group flipped through the documents. She calmly requested someone to brew a cup of coffee. This is Chen Hansheng. It was the first time he personally made coffee for Lu Ruyuan. He was both excited and nervous. He carefully brewed the coffee according to the steps I provided. The member served the coffee to Lu Ruyuan. Lu Ruyuan picked up the coffee and took a small sip. He put down the coffee as soon as he took a sip. The taste is off. What's going on? Secretary Chen might be making coffee for you for the first time. A bit nervous. So, he didn't get the timing right. Lu Ruyuan frowned, asking what was going on with Secretary Chen. What about the 10th? The members were taken aback. The 10th has already left the company. Don't you know? Wan, however, remained unfazed. People in the circle all know I love him dearly. He'll be back on his own before long. On the other side at Chanhua Company, I've been busy with my own tasks. Until after 5 p.m., I went to find my colleague, Su Yuchuan. I've almost finished this work. Can you check if there are any issues? Su Yuchuan looked at the content I sent him. At first, he was completely confused. But 3 minutes later, he widened his eyes in disbelief. Did you do all of this yourself? You must know. This is the equivalent of Huolinger's workload over 10 days. As a result, I not only finished it in less than a day, but also came up with many new ideas he hadn't thought of before. Other people began to gather around. After understanding the whole story, they were all shocked. When she regained her senses, Su Yuchuan looked incredulous. Are you really a graduate student? I straightforwardly said that I haven't pursued a master's degree. A few people were even more shocked. They, with so many PhD and master's students, were surpassed by an undergraduate like this. I chatted with everyone for a while, then helped a few people solve some work issues. By the time I left the company, it was almost 7 o'clock. As I walked out of the office, I saw Yunqi standing at the entrance. On my first day at work, I was officially recognized by everyone. You truly deserve it. I smiled back at her, also grateful to you. How about I treat you to dinner tonight? Of course, that's a must. Otherwise, what do you think I'm waiting here for? More than 20 minutes later, the two arrived at the restaurant. As I was going up the steps, a child ran over. I tripped while stepping back to avoid it. Just as I was about to fall, Yunqi reached out to steady me. I sighed in relief. I was about to thank her, when I caught sight of Lu Ruyuan and Li Xia not far away. They also spotted me, but I chose to ignore them. The two of them went upstairs with Yunqi. Seeing my reaction, Li Xia looked utterly incredulous. That was definitely your husband just now, right? He did that to provoke your feelings for him. Is this a new tactic he's devised to win you back? Lu Ruyuan didn't respond. Dandan said, let's go. When they reached the private room, Shi Qin and Wan had already arrived. Shirqing asked them what was making them so happy. It's nothing, just ran into someone quite interesting. After dinner, Lu Ryuan and Wanwan went home. After getting out of the car, Wanwan happily ran upstairs. She yelled, "Daddy," while running. Lu Shen heard the commotion. The husband hasn't come back from the kitchen yet. Wanwan immediately felt disappointed. Feeling unhappy, she went upstairs. The next morning, Wanwan got up. She thought she could eat the breakfast I had prepared. But she didn't see her dad and mom again. Where on earth did dad go? Lu Ryuan certainly didn't know either. She wanted to know, so she called. In the evening, after work, I received a call from Wanwan, asking about dad. When are you coming home? I want to eat the sweet and sour ribs you make. To be honest, I don't want to go. I rubbed my forehead. I was about to refuse. Wanwan spoke up again, saying her mom went on a business trip today. I'm so bored. Dad, can you come back soon? My expression faltered. Lu Ryuan went on a business trip. We're about to get divorced. I can disregard Lu Ryuan. But until Wanwan turns 18, I still have the responsibility to take care of her. Thinking of this, I agreed. I stayed there for the next 2 days. Friday, Mrs. Sher called me to come home for dinner. I took Wanwan back home. The next day when I got up to call Wanwan, she was already up and getting ready in the bathroom, gathering up the pajamas she had changed out of. Suddenly, Wanwan's tablet pinged. It was a message from Shirqing, asking her to go out with him tonight. I glanced at the screen for a moment before looking away. Holding Wanwan's pajamas, I put them in the washing machine. By the time I came back, Wanwan was already hugging the tablet. She saw me pull the tablet back. To stop me from seeing the chat between her and Shirqing on the tablet. I didn't confront her about it either. The dumplings are ready, let's go downstairs for breakfast. Wanwan jumped up from the bed happily. Dad, I haven't eaten the dumplings Dad made in a long time. During breakfast, Mrs. Sher happily asked Wanwan, what do you want to eat tonight? Grandma will have someone make it for you. Wanwan knows that Mrs. Sher also doesn't like things. Hearing this, his dark eyes shifted to Grandma. Mom is coming back tonight. I want to go home for dinner. Mrs. Sher was somewhat reluctant. But Wanwan has indeed been very good these past 2 years. Lu Ryuan didn't think much when she heard him say this. I knew he was lying but didn't expose him. I added a chopstick of vegetables for Grandma. So, I stayed to keep you company. Wanwan was originally worried about how to get rid of me. Go find Shirqing. Now, hearing me say this, he instantly relaxed. When Wanwan left, I also contacted the housekeeper on Lu Ryuan's side, told him to have someone come pick her up. I didn't send her personally. The next 2 days, Wanwan should have had a blast playing with Shirqing and the others. No one has contacted me again. By Monday evening, I had made plans to have dinner with Yi Chen. After we finished eating, I went to the restroom. As a result, I ran into Xiranjiu again. I pretended not to see him and walked right past. However, Xiranjiu stopped and turned to look at me. When I came out of the restroom, Xiranjiu was still standing in the same spot. She looked at me as soon as I exited. Are you here to eat as well? Yes. I said this and looked coldly at the woman in front of me. You think I'm following you again, don't you? Xiranjiu paused at my words. That wasn't what I meant. I don't know what he means. I don't want to know either. After saying that, I just left. I exited the restaurant. Yi Chen wanted to buy a birthday gift for my mother. So I accompanied him to a jewelry store. I just spotted a set of jade jewelry. Suddenly, someone called my name. I saw a man walking towards me. Xiaohao, did you come here to order jewelry too? I glanced at him and didn't say anything. Seeing my indifferent attitude, Shirley's expression darkened. Dad knows he has done wrong in the past. But you know Dad always has you in his heart. I couldn't help but laugh at that. Indeed, you do have me in your heart. So you let Shirqing get close to my wife. How can that be counted as not having me in your heart? Shirley Hai didn't look at me, Xiaohao. Dad can understand your feelings. But Shirqing and Ryuan truly love each other. Feelings cannot be forced. Why do you have to be this way? Feelings cannot be forced. It's only natural that you cheated back then. He's just like his mother now. Even being a mistress, he does it openly, right? Shirley Hai immediately frowned. When did you become so radical? I'm radical. Did I immediately divorce Lu Ryuan? Helping Shirqing wouldn't count as being radical, would it? At that moment, Xiang Rufang and Sun Liao walked in, impressive. What happened? Xiang Rufang was the first to see me. Isn't this Xiaohao? Long time no see. You really are getting more handsome. Shirley Hai looked at Xiang Rufang, the sister-in-law. What brings you here? Seeing that you haven't been back for so long, uncle. We came to check on you. Sun Liao saw the shopkeeper opening the security box nearby. Looking at me, he deliberately spoke loudly, Uncle. Is this the wedding gift you customized for Aunt? Is it an anniversary gift? It's so beautiful. Over there, Yi Chen heard this. Basically already knew about Shirley Hai. The identities of Hai and the other 3. Turns out they are a bunch of lowlifes. He cursed softly. After settling the bill, he pulled me and turned to leave. But Shi Lihai called out to me, Xiaohao. You and Xiao Qing are brothers. You are family, like Chang Imo in this matter. Dad hopes that this won't happen again in the future. I almost laughed in disbelief. Are you deliberately trying to gross me out? Strength let out a helpless sigh. Xiao Qing is a genius in the field of AI. He actually often has important matters to attend to. You should tone down your temper from now on. Don't target Xiao Qing anymore. I looked into his eyes and saw no warmth whatsoever. Is it enough? After saying that, you can leave. Shi Lihai saw that I was unyielding. Disappointed, let's go. After saying that, he picked up his custom gift and turned to leave. Yi Chen looked at me with concern. I shook my head and said I was fine. From the moment Shi Lihai divorced my mother, in my heart, he was no longer my father. I just felt inexplicably grossed out. The two went to the parking lot. My phone rang before I got in the car. It was Lu Ryuan's call. I paused for 2 or 3 seconds before answering the call. The old lady invited us to the hot spring resort tomorrow. Come back tonight. I'll drive to pick you and Wanwan up. No need. I can just drive myself from the office. Wanwan on the other end is acting coy with Daddy. Are you coming back to accompany me? The hot spring resort is so far away. It's so boring to go there alone. I squatted down. In the end, I didn't refuse again. I got off work on time and arrived at the villa in the evening. Wanwan was already waiting in the car, but Lu Ryuan hadn't come back yet. I waited for more than 20 minutes but still no one showed up. At that moment, the housekeeper ran over. Madam said he has something to attend to and can't come back for now. Let the sir. You and Miss Wanwan should go to the hot spring resort first. His late arrival doesn't matter to me. I nodded and set off in the car. And Lu Ryuan said he would arrive later. But he didn't show up that evening at all. Both the old lady and Wanwan were very unhappy. I, however, acted as if nothing was wrong. I calmly made tea for the old lady. The old lady was in a bad mood. I went to bed early that night. When I woke up the next morning, there was no one beside me. Wanwan and the old lady had gone somewhere. I only found out when I asked. The old lady caught a chill from a breeze last night. She had a terrible headache in the middle of the night. She had already returned to the old house before I got up. She didn't want to disturb my rest. This is the old lady. So she didn't notify me right away. Wanwan found it boring here. Early in the morning, she had someone accompany her down the mountain. She went somewhere else to have fun. In fact, even if it was boring here, she could have waited until after I got up, for me to take her out to play. Now, sneaking away probably wasn't about waking me up. Instead, it was because there was news on Lu Ryuan's side. She wanted to go over there to meet up with Lu Ryuan and Shi Qing. However, I didn't pay much attention to this. After all, I quite enjoy my time alone. There could be more time to do my own things. By Sunday afternoon, I planned to have dinner a bit later and then go home. At this moment, I received a call from Mrs. Lu. This morning I called Lu Ryuan about the trumpet. Ask him to pick you up from the hot spring resort tonight. Has he contacted you? Of course not. Not just him. Wanwan also didn't contact me after sneaking away yesterday. But it would be trouble if I say this. I just casually said yes. Hearing this, Mrs. Lu felt relieved. After checking on Mrs. Lu's health, the two hung up. I had dinner at the hot spring resort. Mrs. Lu said Lu Ryuan would come to pick me up, but I waited at the hot spring resort. By around 9 p.m., Lu Ryuan still hadn't shown up. I didn't want to wait any longer. I asked the hot spring resort to arrange a car to take me home. Once I got in the car, my phone suddenly rang. It was a call from Yi Chen. It turns out he's attending a charity gala tonight. Something happened. Just then, a guy was cursing, calling it an affair, taking his fiancée away. They even got into a fight. It was quite a messy scene. At that moment, I saw Yi Chen sent a live stream. In the footage, a clear shot of a man with Shi Qing having an argument. Then he splashed a glass of red wine right in Shi Qing's face. Just then, Lu Ryuan appeared. He immediately took off his coat. Then he left with Shi Qing without looking back. Having an argument. I finally knew the whereabouts of a certain woman. No wonder. She didn't come to the hot spring resort to pick me up all night. It seems something happened on Shi Qing's side. They must have forgotten about me while going to save Shi Qing. I didn't dwell on it. After getting home, I took a shower and fell straight to sleep. The next day, I woke up while eating. Wanwan's call came in. This was after Wanwan had sneaked away from the hot spring resort. The first time she called me. At this moment, the little girl's voice on the other end of the phone sounded a bit guilty. That morning at the hot spring resort, he received a call from Uncle Shi Qing. He said Mom went out to play with him. He asked if he wanted to come over and join them. He immediately agreed. He secretly slipped away while I wasn't paying attention. They had a great time. They didn't return to the city until yesterday afternoon. And in the morning, returned to school. He then remembered I felt a bit guilty, worried that I might be angry. He called me right away. Fortunately, Dad didn't ask where he was. He just asked if he had eaten well. He thought this was good of Dad. This way, he felt he had a lot more freedom in whatever he did. And I really had no intention of asking. Because I'm no longer interested now. Where the mother and daughter go has nothing to do with me. I chatted with Wan for a bit. I hung up when he started talking about his studies. Back at the office, Yunshi came over and said that tomorrow is the tech exhibition. Tomorrow morning, everyone will meet at the company to set off together. But the next day, I hadn't driven long when the car suddenly broke down. The car behind crashed into me. This triggered a series of traffic accidents. I was apologizing while calling for emergency services. Just when I was troubled about how to get to the exhibition, Zairanjiu suddenly approached from the side. Is it that your car broke down? I was a bit surprised why he was here. After regaining my senses, I just gave a casual, I first called Yunshi. I explained the situation here. You wait a moment, I'll contact someone to help you. However, it might take about half an hour to get to you. It's okay, I can enter later. As long as I don't miss the exhibition, that's fine. After hanging up the phone, I was planning to communicate with the waiting drivers. When Zairanjiu suddenly spoke up. I'll have someone handle this situation for you. You need to go. I'll take you. I was taken aback and looked up at him. But it seems this is the only way for now. However, the two of them weren't really familiar with each other. In fact, she had previously harbored some prejudice against me. During the time in the car, I remained in an awkward silence the whole time. Finally, after more than 40 minutes, the car arrived at the entrance of the technology exhibition. I quickly opened the car door and got out. I politely said thank you and turned to leave. On the other side, Yunshi was somewhat surprised to see me appear. Didn't they say there was an accident? How did they arrive so quickly? After learning it was the melting ice that sent me, he was even more surprised. It seemed she suddenly remembered something and hurried closer. She whispered, fortunately, you found someone to help in time. The teacher will also be coming this time. If the teacher finds out you were late. I instantly grasped what she meant. Our teacher won't care about the reason for being late. To him, being late means you don't care. Thinking of this, I also sighed in relief. When we entered the exhibition hall after checking our tickets, there were already quite a few people inside. Yunshi is quite well known. Just arrived a little while ago. People gradually came over to greet him. He also introduced me to some contacts. When I smiled and greeted people, I was facing the direction of the entrance. Our eyes met perfectly. I locked eyes with Shirqing and a few others entering the exhibition hall. I felt a moment of anger. He didn't expect that I would come too. After all, this exhibition will be a gathering of tech elites. Every spot is extremely valuable. Even the top 10 originally had only 2 tickets. It's still that farce from the charity gala that night. Many people in the circle know the truth. The relationship with Lu Ryuan is complicated. After learning that Shirqing and the others were short 1 ticket. Last night I had someone rush the exhibition. Tickets delivered to them. Shirqing was just about to step forward to speak, when many people walked over to them. Smiling, I exchanged pleasantries with Shirqing and a few others. My side, Mr. Tan, saw this, and pointed towards the Shir family's direction. They all know over there, right? At that time, the young master had a close relationship with Lu Ryuan. That group of people were just trying to network. Upon hearing this, Yunshi seemed a bit curious. It seems that Mr. Tan looks down on the Shir family. It's not really about whether he values them or not. The boy who got into an argument with Shirqing that day. He is the son of my old friend. His fiancée. He was pretty close with Shirqing in the past 2 years. They even reached the point of calling off the engagement. But later, I heard that Shirqing got to know Lu Ryuan. And then he had little contact with his fiancée. However, Mr. Tan's anger isn't about what happened back then. It's about that farce from last night. Right now, no one online knows the truth of the matter. They're all cursing Fong Yuan online. It made him cry out of anger. Yunshi and I were listening. For a moment, we didn't know what to say. At that moment, Yunshi suddenly pointed towards the door. It turned out that Lu Ryuan and Li Xia had also arrived. Lu Ryuan immediately found her way to Shirqing's side. The people around crowded him and Shirqing in the middle. It was as if they were truly a legitimate couple. I only took a glance before looking away. But Yunshi looked very displeased. Aren't you really going to say hello? Lu Ryuan and I aren't divorced yet. If I reveal my identity, I wonder how Lu Ryuan and Shirqing would react. What kind of reaction would there be? I know what he means. I shook my head, refusing because it's unnecessary. Secondly, if I push Lu Ryuan too hard, I'm afraid she might bring up the incident where I set him up. Even though that wasn't something I did, I have no evidence to prove my innocence. In the end, the one who will be embarrassed will only be me. Thinking this, I looked away and turned to leave. I no longer cared about what was happening with Lu Ryuan. Suddenly, the entire room fell silent for a moment. At that moment, a young middle-aged man was standing at the podium. This is the renowned expert in the field of AI. Stop him. First, he looked at the exhibits on display. He made a simple summary. An affirmation, then. He also answered questions from some business people in the audience. Questions they raised. After more than half an hour, Nan Jiji came down from the stage. As he passed by Lu Ryuan, the woman stood up and said, "Mr. Nan, it's been a long time." Yes. Lu Ryuan had met Nan Jiji before. Many years ago. Nan Jiji just showed a cold demeanor. It has indeed been a long time since we last met. Shi Qin also reached out her hand, wanting to chat a bit more. But Nan Jiji glanced at her. After shaking her hand, he sat down. Lu Ruoyan sat to the right of Nan Jiji. Shi Qin actually wanted to talk to Nan Jiji, but there was a heavy barrier between the two. It was inconvenient for Lu Ryuan. Seeing that Lu Ryuan didn't initiate a conversation with the other party, he felt a bit odd. "Did you have a falling out with Mr. Nan before?" Lu Ryuan smiled and said no. "It's just that he looks down on me." Shi Qin was stunned. She suspected he had misheard. It was clear that Lu Ryuan didn't intend to say much. So Shi Qin didn't continue to ask. I don't know how much time has passed. The conference finally ended. After chatting with everyone for a while, Lan Jiji. She said she had something to do and had to leave first. At that moment, we were talking with other company's technical staff. Yunxi and I didn't rush to talk to Lan Jiji like the others. We didn't compete to speak with Lan Jiji. After all, we didn't need to. After a while, Lan Jiji left. And Yunxi received the news. The two of them left the exhibition hall, and went outside to the parking lot where they met Nan Jiji. Nan Jiji was standing by the car at that moment. With an indifferent expression, saying, "I've seen your exhibits for 3 years. Is this all you have?" Yunxi quickly spoke to explain. "We are already preparing new products. We should have a prototype by next year." Nan Jiji replied coldly, Then don't come to see me again before it's ready. Also, send me a reflection on the film tonight." The two instantly understood. This refers to the summary of the technology showcased today. Thinking of this, Yunxi quickly spoke up, "Teacher. Staying up all night might be a bit difficult. Is 1 month okay?" Nan Jiji didn't say anything, just looked at us. Yunxi felt her scalp tingle from being stared at and understood. "I guarantee to complete the task." Speaking of which, it basically announced the conversation between the teacher and student. This is where it ends. At this moment, Nan Jiji looked at me. I immediately felt tense in the background. Just as I was about to say something. "Look at what kind of wife you found." Nan Jiji shot me a glance. After coldly finishing his words, he turned and left. I paused for a moment. Could it be that they said something before? I saw Nan Jiji and Lu Ryuan talking, but I couldn't hear what they were saying because they were too far away. I couldn't figure it out, so I gave up. I turned around and went back to the exhibition hall to continue chatting with my peers. Shi Qin and the others hadn't left either. There were few people I knew at the jewelry store before. Hardly anyone knew him. Shi Lihai saw me and took the initiative to come over and greet me. He referred to himself as Dad and said he was thinking of me. But in today's situation, I didn't see him take the initiative to come over and check on me. I also knew why. After all, he is Shi Qin's father. And Shi Lihai did not want to have any connection with me in this setting. However, he couldn't bear not to be acquainted with Yunxi. So, while I was going to the restroom, he and Shi Qin walked over to Yunxi. "Hello, President Yun. I am Shi Lihai, the father of Xiao Hao and Xiao Qin." He then glanced at Shi Qin. Xiao Hao has a somewhat extreme temperament. There is a misunderstanding between him and Xiao Qin. As a father, I've always hoped they could get along well. Unfortunately, Xiao Hao just won't listen. But he has met a young talent like you. As a father, I am very happy for him. I heard he went to work at your company. Please take good care of him from now on. It really sounds like he cares about me. If Yunxi wasn't fully aware of my past, he might really have believed what he said. Mr. Shi is too polite. Xiao Hao is very outstanding. Having him at Changhua is a blessing for us. Shi Lihai and Shi Qin thought Yunxi was just being polite. With my resume, how could I help Yunxi? However, Shi Lihai didn't say this out loud. As for Shi Qin's situation, General Manager Yun, you should already be aware. He has always been very interested in Q, so he hopes to have the opportunity to join and gain control over his work. Yunxi still smiled and shook his head. Mr. Shi is indeed very exceptional, but Xiao Hao is my friend. In fact, he doesn't care about this anymore. He just doesn't want to date Yunxi. After all, there was Lu Ryuan's arrangement. Soon, he will be able to meet Nan Jiji. He doesn't worry about not having a chance to get to know her. He might even have the opportunity to be with Yunxi. Thinking about this, he smiled to keep up appearances. I understand and won't force him. Mr. Lin doesn't need to worry. The two were laughing and talking to each other. From a distance, it looked like a lively scene in Xiangtan. I came out of the bathroom and saw some footsteps. I understood what the two women were after. But out of trust, I didn't go up to ask. Instead, I waited until after the poetry-themed event. Only then did I go up and leave the event with Yunshi to go home. As soon as I got home, my phone rang. I picked up the phone and saw it was an unknown number. Hello, may I ask who this is? This is Xiao Rongyu. Your car has been taken care of for you. You can come pick it up later. I was taken aback and suddenly sat up from the bed. I was really busy today. If it weren't for Momo's contact. I completely forgot about what happened this morning. When he saw that I wasn't speaking, Momo spoke up again, saying if you have something, I can have someone help you drive the car back. I instinctively declined, saying not to bother. I can just pick it up myself. A straightforward and tidy rejection. After that left them silent for the second half. Only then did he say he would send the contact information over. The next day, I picked up my car according to the address. Then I drove to work as usual. Because recently, I've signed 2 big projects. So on Friday, Yunshi organized a team-building event. The location was decided to be a hot spring. I was taken aback when I received the message. Yunshi was a bit confused, asking what was wrong. Don't you want to go to the hot spring? I shook my head and didn't say anything. I just remembered when I went to the hot spring. I was just left behind. It still feels like it happened just yesterday when I think back on it. But in fact, nearly half a month has already passed. This time, the company went to a hot spring resort hotel. After putting on a bathrobe, I went to the hot spring pool. I had just soaked for less than a minute, when I suddenly saw a little boy squatting by the hot spring pool. He curiously reached his hand towards the edge of the pool. The next moment, I heard a splash. A girl fell directly into the pool. The water was a bit deep for the little boy since he was too short. He could only keep thrashing in the water, seeking help. I quickly got up and walked over. I fished him out and held him in my arms. The little boy clung to my neck. He cried while coughing continuously. I patted his back to comfort him. I then took him to find the staff. As soon as we stepped out of the entrance, I saw Xiao Rongyu not far away. The little boy in my arms cried out for his aunt. Then he reached out his hand towards Xiao Rongyu with a smile. He quickly stepped forward and picked up the little boy. Only then did he realize that his nephew Momo was completely soaked. He paused and looked at me, wondering what was going on. I didn't expect that this would turn out to be an acquaintance. I quickly explained that he fell into the pool. I saw that and immediately picked him up. Let's help him change into some dry clothes, so he doesn't catch a cold. Xiao Rongyu nodded and looked at me, wanting to say something. But his little nephew was crying uncontrollably in his arms. Xiao Rongyu had no choice but to thank me before taking the child into the elevator. I saw that there was nothing for me to do, so I went back to continue soaking in the hot spring. After soaking in the hot spring, I changed into some dry clothes and went to the buffet to eat. I hadn't finished eating yet. Xiao Rongyu appeared in front of me, holding his little nephew. He showed up right in front of me. Can we sit down? Actually, I didn't really want to have too much interaction with him. But after all, he had helped me. And since he said that, I had no choice but to nod. Xiao Rongyu sat down with the food and the child. Momo quietly started eating a little. Lu Ryuan smiled and glanced at the little boy. Just now, it was this uncle who saved Momo. Say thank you to this uncle. Momo licked the egg on the fork with his little tongue. Shi Qin looked up at me. She quietly said, thank you, uncle. I finally understood. It turned out that the child was asked to come over and thank me. Lu Ryuan smiled and said, you're welcome. With the purpose achieved, Lu Ryuan also withdrew her thoughts. After taking a bite, she looked at me. Did you come alone? Company team building. I came with colleagues. Lu Ryuan didn't know that I had already resigned from the Lu group. She thought the Lu group was also having team building here. He paused before responding, I see. At that moment, Yinshi noticed me. She waved at me. I didn't want to get too deeply involved with Lu Ryuan's companions. Now that I saw Yunshi, I quickly took the opportunity to leave. Thank you very much for what happened last time. He left early because he had something to do. Take your time eating. Lu Ryuan. I can actually feel the awkwardness when I'm facing him. I could feel it too. I noticed he wasn't as warm as before. But I only thought it was at the racetrack. It was caused by that unpleasant conversation. He didn't think much when he saw I wanted to leave. He nodded and didn't insist. Yunshi saw it fading away. I was a bit surprised he came as well. Besides, aren't you not very familiar with each other? How did you end up sitting together? Just now, his nephew fell into the hot spring pool. He came up after I saw him. He brought people here to steal. Yunshi Wenyan didn't ask much either. They turned around and left the restaurant together. When I returned to the room, I was thinking of reading on the balcony. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was surprisingly a call from Lu Ryuan. But generally, he only contacts me when there's something going on. That's when he gets in touch with me. I thought about answering. I answered with a cold tone and said hello. Grandmother asked me to come back for dinner tomorrow night. Okay, I got it, and after I finished speaking, they hung up the phone without a moment's delay. I didn't care anymore. I put my phone aside, calmed down, and continued reading. The next morning, I got up and went to the hotel gym to run for a while. After resting for a bit, I went to the hot spring pool to soak for a while. At that moment, a man in his 40s or 50s came over holding Momo's hand. I had seen this man yesterday. He seemed to be the nanny hired by the Shao family to take care of Momo. Yesterday, he had received an emergency call, and for a moment, he lost focus and didn't notice that Momo had disappeared. If I hadn't happened to rescue him yesterday, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Now that he saw me, he panicked and stole glances. I smiled and said it was no trouble. I thought that after yesterday's experience, Momo wouldn't dare to go into the water for a while. However, it might have helped him overcome his fear. Momo was hugging the swimming ring on him. After testing the water with his foot, he slowly went in. After a while, he kicked his legs and paddled over to me. He softly called out, "Uncle." I turned my head and asked him what was wrong. Momo, however, remained silent. Happy people are sliding around me. I had to leave for a company event later. Before leaving, I also said goodbye to Momo. But Momo opened his arms to me. Since he wanted me to hold him, I had no choice but to reach out and pull him onto the shore with me. After changing into a dry bathrobe, I held him again as we went to take the elevator. I thought we would part ways once we got to our floor. While we were waiting for the elevator, Xiao Rongyu appeared. He walked over and reached out his hand to take his nephew. However, Momo was reluctant to let me go, but he also wanted Xiao Rongyu to hold him. In the end, he extended one of his arms. As a result, it melted away in such an embrace. It even pulled my bathrobe open. I felt my face flush. In an instant, I was extremely awkward. I pulled back the collar that Momo was tugging at. It melted away after I realized. I hurriedly turned around and looked away. The nanny beside me was also incredibly awkward. She hurried over to help me fix my clothes. After I had fixed my clothes, my expression still felt somewhat unnatural. I had things to do, so I left early. It melted away, and then I turned around to say sorry. Momo knew he had done something wrong. He thought he had made me unhappy. Looking at me with teary eyes, he softly apologized on his own. I knew he didn't mean it, so I couldn't blame him harshly. "It's okay, Uncle knows you didn't do it on purpose." After he finished speaking, I just gave a slight smile. I waved goodbye to Momo and turned to enter the elevator, because I was going back to the Lu family's old house for a meal. Around 4 p.m., I was getting ready to leave early. Yunshi took me to the parking lot. "Drive carefully." While talking, a car slowly drove towards us. The back window rolled down. Momo poked his head out inside. He waved and said goodbye, "Uncle." I gave a faint smile. I also said goodbye to him. The fallen flowers seemed to melt as they looked at me. I nodded slightly at him. Consider it a greeting. After smiling, he glanced at Yunshi beside me. He withdrew his gaze. Watching his car leave, Yunshi stroked his chin. Why do I feel as if he is observing me? His gaze carried a hint of scrutiny. I didn't mind what he was observing you for. Could it be because I was walking too close to you, thinking our relationship is too ambiguous? So he pays more attention to me for Lu Ryuan's sake. I heard the smile held a bit of reassurance. It definitely wouldn't be because of this. Their relationship with the truth is also quite good. Obviously, they would prefer Lu Ryuan to be with Shirchin. If she really found someone new, they would probably be happy about it. I've settled in completely at the old house after 10 days. Old lady Lu came out personally to greet me when she learned I was back. When she saw that I was alone, the old lady's smile paused for a moment, then she smiled again. Lu Ryuan not returning in the same car was an attempt. But often, doesn't she usually come back with me? How would I know where Wanwan is? Since we parted ways 2 weeks ago, he hasn't contacted me at all. I couldn't be bothered to call and ask. I smiled at the thought. I figured they should arrive soon. The old lady thought. Since I knew Lu Ryuan's schedule, she didn't ask further. But by nearly 7:30, Lu Ryuan and Wanwan still hadn't shown up. Xiao Hao's face didn't look good. You should call and urge them. I had no choice but to pick up my phone. I called Lu Ryuan. They guessed the purpose of my call over there. Just as I was about to speak, they started talking after 20 minutes. Wan's voice came through the phone and reached my ears. Goodbye, Uncle Shirchin. They were indeed together with Shirchin. I was about to hang up the phone. But Lu Ryuan was quicker than me. Lu Ryuan and the others came back after 20 minutes. The old lady didn't look at Lu Ryuan. She kindly waved at Wanwan. Wanwan smiled and ran towards the old lady. After being hugged and ruffled on the head by the old lady, she came over here and called me Dad. When I held Wanwan in my arms, I caught a very faint scent on her clothes. It was the scent of a gentleman's perfume called Poetic Feel. I didn't say anything. I just gently pushed him away. Lu Ryuan sat down next to the old lady. She handed the old lady a box as an apology gift. The old lady knows. He is apologizing for the last trip to the hot spring resort. Apologizing for the vow. He hummed slightly. He knows I prepared a gift for the old lady. What about little Hao? Lu Ryuan smiled, said nothing, and glanced at me. But it was just a simple glance. There were no other emotions in it. I didn't pay much attention either. But I smiled and spoke to embrace grandmother. The food is getting cold. Let's eat first. However, the old lady thought I was changing the subject. To avoid her continuing to talk about Lu Ryuan. After all, Lu Ryuan used to ignore me. When the old lady couldn't bear to criticize Lu Ryuan for me, I would also always speak up to defend Lu Ryuan. Thinking about the old person's helpless sigh, always siding with the concubine. I just smiled without explaining. Lu Ryuan also had a cold expression. Facial expression. It didn't change because I spoke up to help her. The old lady got up and came over to hold Wanwan's hand. Haven't had a meal with great-grandmother in a while. Can we sit with great-grandmother together in a bit? Then I glanced at Lu Ryuan. The meaning was self-evident. I knew great-grandmother was just trying again to matchmake me and Lu Ryuan. But I didn't see Lu Ryuan's reaction. Recently, I followed great-grandmother into the dining room. When I sat down across from great-grandmother and Wanwan, I caught a glimpse of Lu Ryuan in my peripheral vision. She moved the shadow beside me. She sat down next to me. But by the end of the meal, the two of them still hadn't exchanged much. Great-grandmother could only sigh helplessly. Around 9 o'clock, great-grandmother got tired. She waved her hand for us to go upstairs and rest. Wanwan looked at me quietly blowing her hair. Suddenly realized. Dad seems to have stopped talking much lately. Dad used to find many topics to talk about. Wanwan seemed to be deep in thought as she looked at me. He opened his mouth and asked what happened. Wanwan shook her head, saying it was nothing. He must be overthinking things. Perhaps Dad has something on his mind and doesn't want to talk. I dried my hair. Wanwan rolled around on the bed. Are you going to sleep with me tonight? I thought for a moment, does Wanwan want to sleep with you? I'm fine with that. But it seems Dad hasn't spent time with Mom in a while. Isn't Dad going to sleep with Mom? I'll head back in a bit. My divorce certificate with Lu Ryuan hasn't been finalized yet. If Wanwan doesn't actively ask me to stay, and I end up staying here, if the old lady finds out, it'll probably cause more trouble. The light in the room was on when I returned. Lu Ryuan was sitting beside me, working on her computer. I wasn't sure what she was busy with. As soon as I started, my gaze went straight to the walk-in closet to put on my pajamas. Then I returned to the bedside to sit down and read. I kept reading until it was almost midnight. I was sleepy. I put down the book and turned off my bedside lamp. I lay down, ready to sleep. I had a great sleep. It felt warm and cozy under the blanket. It was very comfortable. I woke up groggy in the morning. Just as I was about to get up, I realized I seemed to be holding someone. Once I figured out what was happening, my whole body jolted. My consciousness became instantly clear. I remembered that before I fell asleep, I had deliberately slept near the edge of the bed. There would be a large empty space in the middle of the bed. Unless Lu Ryuan was already used to sleeping while holding Shirchin. Last night, in a haze of drowsiness, she thought I was Shirchin, and thus pulled me into her arms. Thinking of this, I moved slightly, wanting to get out of her embrace. But in the next moment, he tightened his grip on my hand a bit. Then a kiss landed on my forehead. Sleep a little longer. Now I'm sure. Lu Ryuan sees him as a poetic feeling. After all, it's been so many years of marriage. The two have never had a morning kiss. I watched him suppress the sour emotions in his heart. After taking a deep breath, I slowly peeled myself away from his embrace. Maybe he was holding on too tightly. Even a gentle movement startled Lu Ryuan awake. Lu Ryuan might have realized she was in the wrong embrace. He paused and released his arms that were holding her. I didn't look at him again. I moved to the edge of the bed, put on my slippers, and went to the bathroom. When I came out after washing up, Lu Ryuan was still wearing that same nightgown. She was chatting on the phone in front of the hallway mirror. I only glanced at her before looking away. I went downstairs. The old lady and Wanwan were already waiting downstairs. Since we're all awake, let's have breakfast first. As soon as the words left my mouth, Lu Ryuan also came down. She still sat down beside me. I recalled what happened this morning. I slightly increased the distance between us. Often, I looked at Lu Ryuan as if she remembered something. Mom also likes to cuddle with Dad while sleeping. I was sipping on the noodle soup. I choked a bit on hearing that. The old lady, however, was very happy to hear this. Why did Wanwan say that? When I woke up just now and went to look for Dad, I found Dad being held by Mom. The old lady smiled. Suddenly realizing, I often let out a sound of hunger. Teasingly looked at me and Lu Ryuan. Lu Ryuan had been silent the whole time. Instead, my face looked even more unnatural. Because I knew, the person Lu Ryuan wanted to hold was not me at all. The old lady probably felt her goal had been achieved. After finishing the meal, I greeted a few people and then went back to the old house. Seeing this, I also said I had work to do and had to leave. Wanwan, remember to pay attention in class. If anything comes up, call Dad. Wanwan wasn't very happy. She pouted, but there was nothing to be done, so I could only say okay. In the following days, I continued my usual routine, going to work at the same time. Until I got off work on Friday. I was just thinking about what good food to eat. Wonwon's phone call came through again. Mom won't be home on Saturday and Sunday. Dad, when are you coming back? So, that means I have to take her on Saturday and Sunday. Lu Ryuan has indeed taken Wonwon more often these past 2 years. Plus, my daughter is still under 18. So, no matter what Lu Ryuan's plans are, since she is busy, I have the responsibility to take Wonwon. It's just that we haven't gone horseback riding in a long time. After confirming that Wonwon also wanted to go, the next day, I took my daughter to the horse ranch. When I arrived at the racetrack and changed my clothes, I heard Wonwon excitedly talking with her back to me. My mom and one of my uncles. They're both amazing at horseback riding. It's a pity they're not free today. They can't come with me. I stood at the entrance, not wanting to disturb him while he was talking to someone. But when the coach saw me standing, Mr. Sure, I'll call someone else over to help you. I nodded in agreement without refusing. Actually, I can ride horses. It's just that in the past, I focused entirely on Wonwon. I haven't ridden much myself. I asked the coach to take me out for a ride once. Then I took the reins myself, flicked the whip, and sat down. The white horse, Dr. Si Ming, started running. It didn't stop until I had ridden several laps. I went to find Wonwon. When I was about 10 meters away from Wonwon, I suddenly stopped in my tracks. It was Lu. Ryuan and Shichin surprisingly came here too. Wonwon happily hugged Shichin's leg. The three of them seemed to be chatting about something. You could tell the atmosphere was great. Then Wonwon got on a horse with Shichin. Wonwon sat in the front while Shichin sat in the back. Meanwhile, Lu Ryuan got on another horse. The two horses walked side by side. The three of them were chatting and laughing on the horse. From a distance, they looked like a happy family of three. I looked at them for a moment, then turned away and left. After taking a sip of water and sitting for a while, Lu Ryuan's call came in while I was still at the horse ranch. I will take Wonwon. I said, okay, and hung up the phone. This is the call I was waiting for here. Now I know where Wonwon has gone. I turned around and left. I drove away from the horse ranch. It was then that I realized I had nowhere to go except home. I didn't even know where else I should go. While thinking this, I happened to pass by a wetland park. Looking at the sky full of kites, I turned the car around and drove inside. The wind in the park is just right. But everyone came in pairs. I felt a bit out of place being there alone, in front of a small stall. I was just thinking about whether to buy a kite to fly. Suddenly, a small hand grabbed my finger. It shook slightly. Uncle, I looked at the newcomer and it turned out to be Momo. Xiranjiu behind me paused a moment upon seeing me. Did you bring Wonwon along to play? I lowered my gaze. I replied lightly that I wasn't alone. Xiranjiu seemed to understand something. For a moment, no one spoke. I thought that I wasn't very familiar with Xiranjiu either. Just as I was about to leave, Momo looked up at me anxiously and said, Uncle, let's fly kites together. I smiled and opened my mouth to refuse, saying that Auntie had something to do. Let's do it together, we are also just two people. Hualuo seemed to know what I was thinking. I watched from the side, not wanting to disturb you. Just consider Momo another playmate. I actually quite like Momo. And right now, I really don't want to be here alone. So I didn't refuse. Afterwards, I took Momo to play with me. Xiao Rongyu was watching from a short distance away. He really wasn't involved at all. I got tired of flying kites. So I sat by the lake fishing with Momo. Soon it was noon. Xiao Rongyu suggested eating at a small restaurant nearby. After relaxing for an hour or two, I felt much better. I didn't refuse his suggestion either. We had a meal. This meant I was mostly chatting with Momo. Xiao Rongyu saw that we were getting along well. There were no thieves on the island. He just moved our favorite dishes closer to us. After a while, Xiao Rongyu's phone rang. It was a call from Li Xia. She walked a little farther away before answering. Have you eaten anything? My friend just brought me some. Fresh seafood has arrived. Do you want to come over and eat some? Lu Ryuan and the others will also come. Xiao Rongyu looked towards me and Momo. Let's eat next time. Do you have plans for that evening? There's a cruise party over here. Lu Ryuan and the others are definitely attending. Why don't you bring your little nephew along? Xiao Rongyu declined again. He's shy. There are too many people on the cruise, I'm afraid he won't feel comfortable. Li Xia didn't give him a chance to refuse. It's okay, Wang Yuan will be there too. They should be able to have fun together. It's a promise. It's being sent over to Hualuo at 7. Li Xia was the first to hang up the phone. Xiao Rongyu could only look at his phone with a helpless expression. After eating, Momo and I went chasing butterflies. We rode our bicycles. We kept going until we were both tired before stopping. Momo fell asleep tired. I also want to go home and rest. So, I drove away. After a while, Momo woke up. He didn't see me frowning as I spoke to uncle. He heard that I was home. Momo could only let out a disappointed sigh. 7 p.m. Xiao Rongyu boarded the yacht on time. He saw Li Xia waving at him. This little handsome guy must be Momo. Hello, Momo. I am your aunt. Mom's friend, Aunt Li. Li Xia had just finished her self-introduction. Shi Qin also brought Wan over. I heard that Momo is shy. After Wan introduced herself, she reached out my hand, and there were many children over there. Do you want to come over and play with me? Momo looked at Xiao Rongyu. After he nodded, he gathered his courage and followed Wan. Two little kids sat nearby eating. If they found something tasty, they would share it with Wan too. Wan is happy. As a result, they thanked him. Uncle Shi Qin looked up in confusion at the situation. Wan, isn't this uncle your father? As soon as these words were spoken, the entire place fell silent. Wan paused for a moment and shook her head, saying it wasn't true. Momo carefully asked. So, you don't have a dad either? Wan quickly shook her head, saying no. I have a dad. Saying this, he quickly changed the subject. He took Momo to collect souvenirs from the cruise. Momo really liked one particular crystal. There were a total of 2 keyholes. He took them all away. Wan also liked it quite a bit. Momo, can you share one with me? I want to give it to Uncle Shi Qin, Momo said, feeling a bit reluctant. I also want to give one to an uncle. Today, my aunt and uncle accompanied me. We had a great time playing in the park. The uncle is quite handsome. He will definitely like this crystal. Several adults turned to Xiao Rongyu upon hearing this. They immediately looked at Xiao Rongyu. When did this happen? Why didn't you tell us, doctor? Right, Lu Ryuan. Lu Ryuan smiled and looked at Xiao Rongyu. She wanted to hear what he had to say. Xiao Rongyu's expression was subtle, as if it was just a chance encounter. Li Xia suddenly seemed to remember something. So that means you had lunch together too. I knew it. That's why you're so relaxed with the child. So you have help with your feelings. Xiao Rongyu fell silent this time. Lu Ryuan looked at him and made a firm conclusion. You're interested in him. Xiao Rongyu opened his mouth in surprise. But in the end, he didn't refute it. Li Xia was just teasing at first. She didn't expect it to be true. Who is it? Do we know them? Why didn't you bring them over for us to meet? Seeing that Xiao Rongyu didn't speak, Li Xia smiled and squatted down and asked Mama Momo. How many times have you met that uncle at noon? Do you know what his name is? Momo doesn't understand the adult's thoughts. Hearing him ask, I thought for a moment and said casually that I've seen him twice. What is that uncle's name? Momo really can't remember what my name is. He looked to the man who was dissolving for help. With his head down, Momo can ask himself next time he sees him. Momo heard that he can see the uncle again. He immediately nodded happily. Li Xia saw that she couldn't get any more information and didn't say anything further. And Momo saw that Wan really liked the crystal mouth. Although it pained him a bit, he still gave Wan one. Wan happily kept thanking him. Momo saw Wan looking so joyful. He was a bit puzzled by Wan. Did you pick one for uncle? Are you not going to pick one for your dad too?